The scene starts with a masked man entering inside the Adventurers Guild in the Adrasia Empire, the imperial capital. Everyone inside turns to look at him and they all notice him carrying a huge tooth. They were all surprised by this as one mentions that it is the horn of a minotaurus, which makes one another impressed as he mentions that it is the real thing. Another one present is in shock as he points out that it is a rare AAA class monster and also asks if the man has defeated the monster alone. The masked man then makes his way to the reception where the girl at the reception who thanks him for the hard work he has done, and after that she hands him the rewards he had earned. After the formality is over, she states to Silver Sand, the masked man, that for one of the only 5 SS rank adventurers in the mainland, for him to be here at the Imperial branch is something to be proud of. Silver Sand is not much impressed by the compliments, so he leaves after giving the girl fine money. This confuses the girl, so she asks him why he gave her money, to which he responds that this is a treat for everyone, so they should order their drinks and enjoy themselves. He also reminds the girl at the reception to make sure to inform him of any high difficulty quests available. The girl replies with, "Yes, I understand." After this, Silver Sand gives his introduction where he states that he is an adventurer who only accepts high difficulty quests. And this is the reason why the guild prioritizes him when the talk about high difficulty quests comes around. And this comes at a cost, as many other adventurers are not very fond of this idea, so they release their tension one way or another. Silver Sand then proceeds to enter his room where he takes off his mask and exclaims that in one way or another, if people find out about the fact that the prince is an adventurer, then it would become a big problem. Silver Sand is no one other than Arnold Lakes Adler, the 7th prince of the Adrasia Empire. His train of thoughts is interrupted by Sebastian, the butler, who tells him that if he is aware of how much problem it would create, then he should take care of himself. Sebastian appearing out of nowhere makes Arnold question him how many times he has been told to not appear without making a single noise. This makes Sebastian reply that Arnold should understand since this is a habit of his, at which Arnold whines that he doesn't want to listen to Sebastian's lectures and comments. Who cares what the dull prince does anyways? Arnold says this statement because he has a twin brother who has incredible valor, a smart mind, and good personality. Moreover, he is a genius who can do anything flawlessly that has been given to him, and that means that whatever he does he will get praise for, and despite them having the same face, Arnold's twin brother has more quality and grace. He has an almost never-ending amount of suitors chasing after him, so even though he is Arnold's brother, he pisses him off. As Arnold, on the other hand, has no ambition, nor is he fearless. He is the useless prince that has neither skills nor spirit. Ever since he was a child, he had been playing all the time, and all the tutors had given up on a prodigal child like him, and soon the judgment was spread across the entire capital. And after that, the whole empire, the name Arnold had been given, had all its good parts stripped away by his brother. And even now in the castle there are people who look down on him with despising eyes, who have bitten him in the back with words, who have no expectation from anyone who is at the bottom despite being a royal, and that is him. Arnold is a prince. Sebastian at this consoles him and tells him to not be bothered by such small-minded words, as not everyone knows of Arnold's strength. Arnold confesses that he is not bothered by this, as he has just learnt to accept that treatment. He simply doesn't want Sebastian to waste his breath by telling him the duties of a prince or whatever. Sebastian understands what Arnold is asking of him, but it has now become a situation where he cannot not say it, and requests Arnold to please return to the castle immediately. Sebastian then informs him that General Dominic has died, which makes Arnold question if it is the old general. General Dominic was a prestigious general of the Imperial Guards who had died after fighting for 50 years on the front lines. In the end, he had an advisor-like position in his retirement, and he had some diseases at his old age. But it shouldn't be at the stage where he would just die suddenly, which makes the only word come to mind is assassination. Sebastian, coming to the conclusion, states that the details are still unknown, as they are still looking for the culprit. General Dominic was the type that would make enemies easily, but for Dominic to get assassinated like this, there could be only one reason: that he had plunged his neck into the battle for the throne. Dominic was always the one to criticize the princes and princess, but recently there was one prince he has taken a liking to, so that would mean that it must have been the ones that viewed that as a threat. So basically, the ones who were aiming for the throne had Dominic assassinated, and Arnold thinks that it is probably something like that. However, in the end, it is just some prestigious general, so there is no harm done towards the empire, and they would have covered up the death by sickness. The only damage done is towards the prince who has lost an ally, and the name of that prince is Leonard Keyes Adler, Arnold's twin brother. Leo seems to have made an ally naturally, and he didn't do it with the intention of gaining power to take over the throne. And that Sebastian joins in that the fact that such a simple act was seen as gaining power is the real problem. So Prince Leonard has been now identified as an enemy by the ones aiming for the throne. 3 years before the crown prince had died, there was already a fight. The ones in power are those who have amassed it on their own. These are the second prince, the second princess, and the third prince. The chances for these to ascend the throne are very high. Leo, who had managed to gain the attraction of General Dominic with his amiable personality, had unintentionally become the fourth person in power. For the other successors, other than the top 3, to ascend the throne, there are 2 paths for them. The first is to become an ally or remain neutral, and the other is to become enemies and aim for the throne. Once the successor is chosen, if they lose based on the top 3's personality, they will either face exile or the death sentence. This punishment includes related family as well. In the case of Leo, it will be him, Arnold, and their mother. After this, Leo would be unexpectedly put in the position of choosing a successor. So, as of now, there is no point in becoming anyone's ally or remaining neutral. This makes Arnold sigh out loud as he exclaims that there is no choice for Leonard but to become the emperor. Sebastian suggests if Arnold himself has considered becoming an emperor. This makes Arnold question the butler, asking if he looks like an emperor to him, as he is the man who has pushed all the boring stuff onto Leonard's back. And Arnold is not stopping anytime soon. Arnold wanted to live his life as a carefree adventurer, and he doesn't want to die yet. Though he considers it a pain, he has no other choice but to act behind the scenes for his brother. Inside the imperial capital Holy Sword City Vild, Arnold is greeted at the forefront by 2 noble men of the castle. They tell him that he looks just as energetic today as well, and Arnold praises it, saying that this is thanks to him. Hearing Leonard's name, the man points that he has heard Leo is planning to join the battle for the throne too, and Prince Arnold can't help but lose. They then call it a pity that he is being compared, and despite being twins, the difference in talent is quite apparent. At this, the other one calls it right but apologizes for his rudeness. Arnold tells them not to worry about it since it is all true, and Arnold knows how these men are making fun of him while bowing their heads in respect. Among all of the royal families, Arnold is the only one who is not treated as royalty, and the nobles of the land are all in the capital, and they and the ministers all look down on him from the bottom of their hearts. And this is how Arnold has been acting, doing whatever he wants, no one caring about him or what he does, and this is how he is able to carry out his activities as Silver Sam, and this is why he thinks it is fine for him to not stop his behavior. And Arnold understands that if he just does whatever he likes while carrying the identity of a prince, then it is natural that he will be put in that sort of position. With this thought, Arnold reaches Leo's room where he announces that he is coming in, which comes as a surprise to Leonard. Arnold then mentions Dominic, claiming that it seems like Gramps has died, and that he has heard Dominic was probably assassinated, at which Leonard gives a weak reply of probably. So Arnold asks him what he is going to do, and Leonard answers that he does not want to fight his family. And Arnold had predicted this response as he thought already that Leo had no intention to aim for the throne. But as it is now, if any of the 3 people that possess power gets the throne, the only thing waiting for them would be a dark future. If Leo and he abandon their duties in the royal family and take their mother and run, they will get attacked for real. And even if he were to get serious, it would be quite difficult to escape. This is why there is only one path for them, and Leo has already been recognized as an enemy. So if he doesn't join the battle for the throne, then only death would await him, and that includes Arnold and their mother as well. This makes Leonard state that he knows and that he is sorry, but Arnold tells him not to apologize but more importantly should tell Arnold his plan. Leonard sighs and confesses that he doesn't have no choice but to join the battle for the throne. And that is what Arnold had expected, wanting to help everyone, and Leonard would have withdrawn if the problem was only about him. Arnold can't help but say that Leo is too kind to be emperor. He nonetheless tells Leo that with this, he has no choice but to become emperor, so Arnold will do whatever he can to help. So Leo should focus more on gathering allies and amassing power as if they become big, then it will be harder for others to act against them. Leo understands but asks Arnold what about him. In this battle for the throne, the one that has the strongest power in their hands is the victor, and the others already have great strength and a lot of human resources. With Leo's powers as it is now, he cannot compete at all. So Arnold responds that he will do whatever he can to gather allies too. But Leo should not get his hopes up since most of the strong knees already belong to the top 3. And though Leonard knows that, he thanks his brother and states that he thinks Arnold is more suited to be emperor than him. But Arnold just calls it nonsense. As if he were to become the emperor, then there won't be any chance for him to have fun. and Arnold already plans to get a beautiful wife and live a fun and happy life. So for that to happen, Leonard has to become emperor no matter what. Arnold puts his hand on Leonard's shoulder and finds that Leo is shaking, and he cannot help but guess that even for the outstanding Leo, the top three are monsters. If viewed by ability, the well-being of the nation is guaranteed, no matter who becomes the emperor. However, no matter how powerful they are not invincible. It is exactly because those three are fighting that Leo has a chance. So, Arnold tells Leo that for now, they should start by increasing their allies and getting recognized by their father. Leo calls Arnold to be right, since in the end, the one to decide his successor is their father after all. However, this raises the question of how they have to get recognized by His Majesty the Emperor. And with this, the twins started their battle for the throne. Arnold, in his silver sand mask, is confronting the guard, stating if he didn't hear him that he is the SS Rack Adventurer Silver, and he is there to meet Duke Kleinert. The guard claims that he heard Silver, but there has been no word from the Adventurers Guild about this, so he should stop joking and go back already. This offends Silver as he points out if the guard thinks that it is suspicious, so he should behold as Silver will present him an identification card using the guild's secret technique since it is impossible to replicate an adventurer's card. But his words are interrupted in between when the guard exclaims that there is no need to show him the card, and he just needs to hurry up and go back as the guard is busy. Arnold is not at all happy with this, as he wants to blow the guard up to smithereens with his magic. A few minutes back, Arnold was discussing with Sebastian about their future activities where Sebastian suggests revealing the fact that Arnold is Silver, but Arnold calls the idea to be denied. While there are merits to exposing his true identity, ever since his great-grandfather devoted himself to ancient magic and was driven mad by it, ancient magic became a taboo within the royal family. The only person that knows Arnold's true identity is Sebastian, and it is a secret even to his own little brother. The reason being the type of magic Arnold uses is the forbidden ancient magic, and for Leo, who is aiming for the throne, it won't be good if the fact his twin brother uses it is revealed. This makes Sebastian point out that, however, Silver has a great track record and name, and he is said to be the greatest adventurer in the Empire's history, so he surely can be a boost for Leonard's campaign. But Arnold feels that it is still too early, and this fact is their trump card for when they have no choice left. And as long as Leo is aiming for the throne, it is more convenient if Arnold stays as the dull prince as it will be easier for him. Sebastian understands and states that if that is what Arnold has decided, then he cannot say anything but asks what he plans to do since if he doesn't reveal his identity, then there is no move they can make. Leo's side is small and weak, and Arnold knows that they have to expand it as soon as possible, so he questions Sebastian if there are any dukes not involved in the throne war. That is when Sebastian informs him that there is only one who is completely uninvolved, and it is Kleinert Duke. This puts Arnold in deep thought as it is quite a prestigious family that has appeared as a ducal house refers to a house that's a relative to the royal family or has blood relations, and this throne war is an important event for them. If one sells their favors to the next emperor, then their gains will be great too, and this is why every ducal house aims to be close with the successors' candidates. But for them to do nothing at this period is weird. So Arnold asks if there is something that is causing them to worry, and it is as Arnold had suspected. There have been some bad monsters appearing in their territory, and they have requested help from adventurers, but there has been no solution yet, and Arnold knows why because the guild around that area isn't that high level, and they seem to be quite in trouble. Then an idea comes to Arnold that why doesn't he go to solve it for them, and Sebastian points out that while it is a great suggestion, how does he plan to connect Silver with Leonard? Arnold had already thought of that and mentions that he would just say that Leo requested it, and Leo would have no problem explaining it further later on. Sebastian too seems to like the idea as managing to move an SS rank adventurer who doesn't leave the capital will certainly increase the attention towards Leonard, and if that happens, then Prince Arnold's connection with Silver might be exposed. Arnold doesn't mind that and states that it is fine if they start paying more attention, and if they think Leo has a connection to Silver, then they won't act carelessly. He considers that it is okay as long as he is careful not to reveal his identity. Sebastian, at this, states that if Arnold is that confident, then he won't stop him. However, he reminds him not to forget that there is a difference between announcing something and getting exposed. With this, Arnold starts to leave and claims that he knows. He tells Sebastian that he is off for a bit, and Sebastian should feel free to eat the snacks. The Kleinert Duchy would take Arnold a few days to reach by horse, but with his teleportation magic, he can reach there instantly, as if the whole empire is his backyard. Though it uses a lot of mana, he cannot use it recklessly, and with that, he had reached the Duke's mansion. But he didn't expect to get stopped by the dumb gatekeeper. Arnold had tried to reason with the guard by telling him that he had purposely come because Leonard specifically requested. But it seems like the prince is too kind. So, he tells the guard to tell the Duke that both the prince and Silver's dignity has been desecrated. The guard didn't care as he exclaims that there is no way he will relay that and calls Arnold a suspicious phony, and tells him to hurry up and get lost. Arnold understood the fact that they might be short on hands due to the monsters, but they let someone like the gatekeeper guard the gate. The Kleinert name is going to cry. To request an extermination from an SS rank adventurer requires 3 rainbow coins, and its value is so high that a regular citizen has no chance of seeing one. It is difficult for a duke to put a request, and he even came there of his own accord, but to chase him away without even confirming is something Arnold considers the guard's fault. But a vassal's fault is also his lord's fault, and though Arnold feels bad for the duke, he should let him panic for a bit. Then his eyes fall on a girl who is shyly looking out the window. And judging by her appearance, she doesn't seem like a maid, so she must be the Kleinert's daughter. Come to think about it, Sebastian had told him about her before he came here. Then Sebastian comes out of the fin of Arnold's subconscious, warning him that the Duke's daughter is the so-called Blaumo, Blue Seagull, the unrivaled beauty, so he should be careful not to get distracted by her beauty and forget his objective. Arnold doesn't find her certainly pretty, but this had nothing to do with the current situation. The guard, meanwhile, screams for him to hurry up and leave, so he goes some deep into the woods and transports him back to his room. Sebastian there greets him, calling that it was fast, and Arnold replies that he is doing what he is supposed to do properly. Then he tells Sebastian to get ready as they are heading to the Leinert Duchy. This makes Sebastian question if he weren't just there, and Arnold replies that is Silver, and the one going now is Prince Arnold. And with this, Leinert has no choice but to cry and beg to Leo, and it is already equivalent to dragging him in. 5 days later, they made their way back to the Kleinert Duchy as they had traveled by horses and were greeted at the entrance by Duke Elmer von Kleinert himself. The Duke mentions that it has been a while, to which Arnold replies that it sure has and asks when was the last time they met. The Duke answers that it was Your Highness's 10th birthday. Arnold shows his surprise at such a long time and states that he guesses that it is because he rarely leaves the capital. Ever since inheriting the position of Duke at a young age, he is a lord who governed his territory for a few decades, and he is liked by his people due to his gentle personality. He is also one of the dukes trusted by the current emperor. Arnold, while making himself comfortable inside the house, claims that it seems he has become estranged from the dukes of the land and asks for forgiveness for that. The duke states that it is his fault for always staying in his territory and not showing face in the capital. Arnold then, coming to the point, tells him that he doesn't have much time, so allow him to get straight to the point, which makes the Duke question what is his purpose for visiting them. Arnold then, making a scene, states that the Duke is quite a bad person for asking them about their purpose, as they obviously are there to talk about compensation. This puts the Duke even in more confusion as Arnold explains that his brother Leonard doesn't wish for it, but being in the midst of the throne wars, he cannot afford to say that. That is why he has come to remind the Duke. He then tells the Duke that if he felt any gratitude towards Leo at all, then he wants the Duke to support Leo, at which the Duke tells Arnold to hold on a moment and asks what he means by gratitude. This makes Arnold ask the Duke if he is trying to pretend that he doesn't know. He states that Kleinert is a Duke who has gathered the trust of the Emperor and many people, and Leo, who understood this, has gone out of his way to help the Duke out of kindness. He asks what Leo would think if he knew that the Duke had repaid him this way. The Duke truthfully answers that he really does not know and states that he is sorry, but including himself, their duchy has received nothing from Prince Leonard. At this, Arnold shouts a what, while Sebastian claims that it seems like the Duke really doesn't know anything, which makes Arnold mad as he questions if it is something that can be settled just by not knowing. Leo purposely had moved an SS rank adventurer, especially in a time like this while getting involved in the throne wars where he is most troubled, and that is why Silver moved. This truly comes as a shock to the Duke as his eyes go wide open, and he asks if by Silver, do they mean that Silver? Arnold confirms that yeah, him, as Leo had heard that the Duke was troubled by monsters in his area, and personally wrote a letter requesting for Silver to aid him. Silver responded to that, saying he will tend to it immediately. Continuing, Arnold claims that Silver is an ancient magic user, and he has also heard that Silver uses the lost teleportation magic, so there is no way he did not come here. Duke then asks if that is true, which makes Arnold mad and calls if he is trying to say that he is lying. Sebastian, at this, pleads with his highness, telling him to please not get too angry, and from the looks of it, the Duke seems that he is not lying. so perhaps something had happened, so it would be better to give the Duke some time to investigate. Now the question arises, what would happen if nothing came out of that investigation? To which Arnold gives the solution that if that happens, perhaps it would be better to hear directly from Silver. And if Prince Leo summons him, Arnold is sure he will show, and since Sebastian has said so, Arnold will allow the Duke some time. However, if he is hiding anything, then Arnold will hear it directly from Silver. And if the problem is from the Duke's side, then there will no longer be any adventurers dispatched to the Duke's territory again. The Duke states that he understands and tells them to wait a moment while he gathers information from the members of the house. As the Duke leaves, Arnold smiles to himself, claiming that went well, while Sebastian comments that it was quite an evil plan. It is almost like a self-playing charade, and Arnold answers that it was them that chased away Silver, and that is kind of mean for Sebastian to call it self-playing. He only deepened the wound, he didn't create it. The Duke would probably not be swayed by the words of someone like him who isn't directly fighting for the throne. And the problem lies in the involvement of Silver. Silver is one of the only 5 SS rank adventurers in the land, and if dirt is smeared upon the face of the Silver, then adventurers would never visit again. Sebastian, at this, comments that if Arnold was chased away, then he could have just sneaked in, but Arnold saw it as an opportunity and purposefully stepped down. He also emphasized Leo's greatness by behaving arrogantly. Sebastian gives his praise for being such a great strategist. Arnold then mentions that Leo is too nice and there are a few fish that survive in the water that's too clean, so he needs someone to pollute the water for him. Sebastian at this says that if Arnold has decided for that to be his role, then he won't stop Arnold. But keep in mind, Arnold is the only one suffering from losses. Arnold is fine with it as he states that it's fine. What they need now is Leo's reputation after all. And he doesn't care how low his own drops. But Sebastian points out that he cares, and his mother and Leonard do too, and Arnold claims that the 3 of them caring for him is enough. Just then they hear the Duke cursing and calling someone an idiot son and asks if he is trying to ruin their family. Hearing this, Sebastian points out that it seems like the Duke's information gathering has finished. Arnold then sighs, well then, and wonders how this will turn out now. Duke then enters again, bringing the gatekeeper with him, and both of them bow while they deeply apologize. Arnold with arrogance states that it is enough with the apologies and minds informing him what happened. And Duke answers that it seems like Silver did indeed visit them 5 days ago, but the idiotic son of Duke chased him off without properly confirming first. His son then speaks up, asking if he thinks it is normal for an SS rank adventurer to suddenly come over, and even Duke would think that he is an imposter. Duke calls out for his son to be quiet and that he can't even guard the gates while Duke is away. The son tries to reason by stating to his father that didn't father say that chasing away any man here to see fine is part of the job. At this, Duke scolds him that he doesn't remember saying to chase away an SS rank adventurer, and could he just check Silver's adventurer card, and asks why can't he even do that. The son tries to answer while stuttering, and Arnold is able to see that those eyes are telling him that he is deciding whether or not to lie. Though in cases like this, the best way to minimize the damage is by lowering their head and being honest, so Arnold steps in, calling the Duke so that he can lecture his son afterwards. He is sorry to say this, but his son's fault is also his fault, and Duke admits that he understands. How could he make it up to Arnold? This makes Arnold question that making up for chasing away an SS rank adventurer sent by a prince, as Silver, whose face has been smeared all over with dirt, will presumably never cooperate with them again. So he asks how they plan to compensate for that. The Duke, hearing this, offers to please forgive them with his head, but Arnold refuses, stating that he doesn't want his head or his useless sons either. Just then, a voice comes, stating that then they offer herself up. Just as the Duke's daughter steps out and asks to please forgive her brother and father. The Duke and his son are horrified by the offer as the Duke calls for his daughter Finn. Seeing her, Arnold remembered that 2 years ago, the Emperor had ordered the country's craftsmen to create a hair ornament modeled after a bird. Among them, a splendid blue ornament modeled after a seagull had caught the Emperor's eye. The Emperor, who took a liking to it, had gathered all the beauties from all over the country at the capital, declaring that only the most beautiful woman in the country is suitable to wear this ornament. Despite only being 14 years old at the time, the one chosen as the absolute beauty was Duke Klainert's daughter Finn von Kleinert. She, who was gifted the blue-colored seagull ornament, was called the Blaumo and became the object of admiration from men all over the country. Finn gets on her knees and calls for His Highness to please help her brother and father. She confesses that she saw Silver Santu when he visited, and if there is any sin, then she should bear it as well. Seeing his daughter, Duke and his son also get on their knees to ask for forgiveness. Arnold doesn't like the fact that he suddenly became the villain and considers this as an unexpected development, away from the psychological battle he has planned to have with the Duke. Sebastian then joins in, saying that everyone from the Duke's family is already doing so much. So why doesn't he rein in his anger, which makes Arnold ask, what about Silver? Sebastian offers that if they apologize with utmost sincerity, he is sure Silver will understand. Arnold then states that even if Silver settles the problem in the territory, the fact that their dignity has been soiled by the Duke won't vanish. Sebastian suggests that they can consult with Leonard regarding this at a later date. But Arnold doesn't want to hear it, as he says that it is useless to consult anything with that guy, as he would sacrifice anything. Sebastian comments that that is precisely why people gather around him, and if remembered correctly, then Arnold is the brother of Prince Leonard, and the people that have gathered under Leonard. And even though he is Leo's brother, running the relationship between the Duke behind the prince's back is bad for his position. This makes Arnold state that fine, then they will go with his plan, and orders Duke to send his men out to look for Silver. Once he has found him, Arnold will go talk to him. Duke agrees to go right at this moment, so Arnold tells Sebastian to go help him out too. Arnold knows that they have reached a good point of compromise, and all that is left is to settle the problem in the area, and the Duke will become Leo's ally. This is one step towards their debut in the Throne Wars, and from the perspective of the Duke, Arnold is just nobody borrowing his brother's power, and he considers it fine with him. After all, the one entering the Throne Wars is Leo, and not him. Just then Arnold is called by Finn to ask for permission to allow her to go with him. In the next scene, Arnold along with Finn enters an inn where Arnold calls out that Silver is still there at the duchy. That is unexpected. Silver responds to this that he knew that Arnold would dispatch someone to come find him, but he didn't expect that the dull prince himself would come, though. The fact that Arnold and Silver are present together is just an illusion cast by Arnold using magic, where he also manipulated the memories of the inn owner using ancient magic. Arnold made him remember that there was a weirdly dressed guy who started staying over since 5 days ago, and it looks like Sebastian had discovered it. Arnold himself, who received the report, had come to meet Silver. Finn had insisted that she come too, so there was a need for him to play 2 roles, and there is no way for him to be exposed by voice, as Silver's mask is an extremely powerful magic tool. It can not only alter his voice and body odor but also leaves an impression of contact upon the target. So even if they are together, there is no way one could tell that they are the same. The illusionized Silver then asks who is that lady, and Finn comes up to greet Silver and describes it as a pleasure to meet him for the first time. She informs that her father is occupied with exterminating monsters, so she is there as his representative. This is not the first time they had met, they also met 5 days ago. She then apologizes sincerely for her house's rudeness towards him, but Silver tells her that it is enough with the apologies, as his thoughts on her house have already been driven to the ground. He complains that he had heard that they were a wise house that takes care of its people, but it seems like that just in the name only. He continues that for a land suffering from monsters to have adventurers flowing out is a rare thing. If they had truly cared about their people, then they would have prepared to accept any adventurer, and the fact that her brother chased him away is due to the Duke's neglect of that preparation. Finn agrees that it is true, it is their house's mistake. Arnold thinks that it is time for him to make his move, and he had never thought he would end up doing such a third-rate play, convincing himself like this. So now he will show her that he managed to somewhat persuade an unhappy Silver. And once that story comes out of Finn's mouth and into Duke's ears, his goal is reached. Though Finn tagging along was unexpected, with this, the Duke will no doubt be on Leo's side. Arnold then asks Silver if he still plans to continue with the request, to which Silver replies that he wouldn't be there if he didn't. However, he has something that he must confirm before that, so he questions if Arnold has managed to pull the Duke and his allies, to which Arnold replies that he hasn't received his word on it yet. Silver, with sarcasm, comments, as expected of the dull prince, as he is away from his brother. Arnold cannot help but feel a weird feeling using himself to insult himself, but he tells Silver to not worry and that he will definitely get his cooperation. Silver, at this point, states that he wants a promise for a full partnership, and if he has that, then he will complete the request. He confirms that he has his own reasons for wanting to have Arnold's brother as emperor, no matter what. The reason why he purposefully left the capital and came all the way is also to ensure that the Duke becomes Prince Leonard's ally. He continues that, based on his reputation, Silver had thought that in order to repay Prince Leonard, the Duke would give his cooperation. But it seems that reputation has fallen, and if he doesn't get the Duke to prepare a written oath, he might get betrayed. Hearing shame on her father's name, Finn comes to defense by stating that her father would never do such a thing. But Silver tells her that there is no use defending him, as his trust towards her house has already been lost. To this, Arnold questions unless there is a definite promise of support, then she has no intention of helping. And Silver confirms with, of course. Arnold, at this, states that he would like Silver to compromise there slightly and help exterminate the monsters. He will definitely get the Duke to become Leo's ally, and at this, Silver comments that Arnold is telling him to put his trust in the Dull Prince and asks if he realizes what he is asking for. Arnold replies that, of course, and even so, he asks him to help and pleads with him to please understand. While Arnold is pleading, he thinks if Sebastian sees him like this, what he would say. For someone like him who has no pride whatsoever, it is easy to lower his head to anyone. Not to mention this being an illusion that he created himself, so it doesn't affect him at all. Silver then states that for him to lower his head immediately, it seems like Arnold really has no pride as royalty, and Arnold replies that he is sure Leo would have done the same. He knows that Silver can't trust him, but he is still Leo's brother. At the very least, he will get the job done. And that is why he requests that Silver exterminates the monsters, as he doesn't want to drag this problem any further than this. Silver agrees, fine. As an adventurer himself, he cannot let those monsters roam around any longer either, so he will accept his request, and this makes Finn so happy. But before she could express it, Silver interrupts that he has expectations for her house, so they should not forget about their cooperation. Finn is over the moon by this news as she thanks him very much and promises that she will make sure that they meet his expectations. Now Arnold and Finn are making their way back, where Arnold is sure that he doesn't want to do this ever again. When Finn thanks him very much, which makes Arnold question her why she is thanking him. She replies that because your highness lowered his head for them, even though it was their fault that this happened, and he even managed to persuade Silver for the sake of the people, and that her gratitude is a matter of course. This makes Arnold seem that there is a huge misunderstanding there, and believes that she is the same as Leo, the type that sees the positive side of everything. This has to be corrected, and if she mistakes her as a good person, then it will be hard for him to move from now on. Arnold answers that he lowered his head for his own sake, and it's not for the reasons she thinks. So she has misunderstood, to which she replies that if that is so, then allow her to continue this misunderstanding. She misunderstood that His Highness was actually a scary person, but that is not the case. Arnold tries to argue that is not what he meant, but she continues that yes, it is her misunderstanding that he lowered his head for his sake and not for the people's sake. Certainly, for their sake either, but he will forgive her misunderstanding. Her expression at this makes Arnold remember back when their mother brought them out to watch a meteor shower that only occurs once every decade. The shooting stars that filled the night sky were simply beautiful, and the happiness and joy that he felt that time, the same feeling from that moment, had welled up in him. So a misunderstanding like this once in a while isn't too bad. In the next scene, Arnold, along with Sebastian, is looking down into a clearing where Arnold expresses good grief for what a terrible situation, to which Sebastian informs him that Duke Kleinert has sent out 4 rank B and 2 A rank adventurers. However, it seems they were unable to settle the situation. Arnold, at that, states that he guesses it can't be helped with the opponents being the mother slimes. A mother slime is able to absorb anything and convert it into nutrients. It then produces countless other slimes, so it is a troublesome monster. At the time of the Duke's request, the slimes' numbers were already considered an army, and it was too late at that point. So Arnold says that he will have to hurry and get rid of them, or there won't be an end to it. But Sebastian protests that, however, in order to protect the trust placed in themselves, the adventurers wouldn't forgive any interruptions, even from an SS-ranked adventurer. Arnold replies that his request was accepted from a completely different client after all, and depending on their attitude, this may take some time. Arnold comments that, to be honest, they don't have the time for such, so he hopes that the local adventurers can understand. He then tells Sebastian to head back first, and he will do something about this. As he leaves, Sebastian calls for him with good luck. Arnold, in the silver, makes his way towards where the local adventurers had gathered, where one local adventurer comments that the great SS rank adventurer went through the trouble of coming all the way there, and introduces himself as Abel, the leader of the party, and that he is a rank adventurer, though he must just be a small fry in Silver's eyes. Silver then introduces himself as SS rank adventurer Silver, and when they shake hands, Arnold, just as expected, knew that Abel didn't like him. Abel then states that he heard from the Duke that he will be coming as reinforcements, but if he just says yes, sure, and passes over the quest, he wouldn't be an adventurer anymore. and asks if he gets him. Silver replies that he understands, to which Abel goes that interfering in someone else's quest is also a violation to their codes as adventurers and asks if he got that too. Silver again replies that, of course, he does, which makes Abel mad, and he asks if he got it, then why is he there interfering? As an adventurer of his level shouldn't be worried about a lack of quests. Silver calmly replies that what Abel wants to say is reasonable, and he understands his frustration too. So if he wants to shower him with boos and jeers or punch him, that is up to Abel, and he has no plans to complain. But as an adventurer himself, he wants to ask the guys that can't, hey, do anything about the situation. Hearing their argument, one adventurer girl informs that the mother slimes have grown much larger than they heard, and they have tried challenging them a few times before, but they end up retreating without dealing any fatal blows, and they are completely lacking in firepower. Arnold is surprised to see another girl adventurer to be in support, as the girl mentions that it is fine if they don't want her involved in the quest, but allow her to report this to the guild headquarters and have them issue an emergency quest so she will accept it and come back. However, but in those few days, the safety of the area will be greatly threatened. As an adventurer, she cannot allow the danger to intensify any more than this. This makes Abel confess that he admits that they lack the strength, so allows Silver to do whatever he wants and apologizes for the other. Arnold thinks that Abel alone might have been able to push on, but he was thinking of his group members too and calls him to be a good leader. Silver, before leaving, comments that it should be alright now and asks if he can leave the report to them, which makes Abel comment that Silver is the one that should, as they didn't do anything, and Silver is the hero that saved the duchy. Hearing this, Silver states that sorry, but he has no interest in that, and he has other matters to tend to, and he will leave the rest to them. With this, he uses teleportation before anyone could utter another word. Arnold then transports back into the Duke's mansion in a room specifically reserved for Arnold Prince's use. Later, he will receive the report that Silver has subjugated the mother slimes while he was with the Duke, and then he will get his pledge of support from the Duke. And with that, the job is, his thoughts are interrupted by some sound. When he looks about, he is shocked to find Finn staring at him in shock. She, while being in a trance, states that Prince Arnold just teleported, and the outfit he is wearing belongs to Silver. This makes Arnold cringe internally as he has been careless and wonders if he should pretend that it is a misunderstanding and tell her that it is his hobby to dress up like this. But no, that won't do, which makes him wonder if he should kill her. But no, that won't work either as Finn is the Emperor's favorite, and if anything happens, there is no question that the Emperor himself would investigate it. There is no doubt that he would be the prime suspect, and if that happens, then Leo's fight for the throne is as good as over. He cannot use the same magic he used on the inn owner, as it can get rid of memories with strong impacts either. Now he can't make her misunderstand, nor can he seal her lips. He cannot see a way out of this. Finn then points out that she baked some sweets and thought of bringing some to him, so she came. But there was no reply when she knocked, so she thought something happened. Arnold is not happy with this confession as he makes his way to Finn and states that she knows his secret now, so he can't let her just go back like this. Finn tries to argue that she won't tell anybody that Silver's true identity is Prince Arnold, which makes Arnold point out that yet she is shouting it to the world. Once Finn shuts up, he tells her not to worry. He has set up a soundproof barrier, so no matter what she says, the sound won't leak. And then leaning over, he questions that has she not thought that he would do something to her and he could even assault her. No matter what she does, she won't be able to call for help. This is enough to creep her out as she murmurs that is not possible, as even if he really does so, there must have been no other choice, so then she will accept it. Her trust in him makes him comment that he doesn't remember being trusted so much by her, to which Finn states that if he is really Silver, then that means he has already defeated the monsters. Then he is the hero that saved the duchy, and that is why she can trust him. Also, he came here as a prince and performed various performances, which is all for his brother's sake. He who acts for the sake of other people has to be a kind person. That confirms for Arnold that she really is a kind person to be able to believe so much in other people. Now that she knows that he is Silver, she should also know that everything he has done up till this point was to cause the downfall of the Duke and to use his gratitude to gain his support. And she still trusts him even after knowing that, and Arnold is sure that he cannot betray that trust. Arnold informs her that the only one that knows his secret is Sebastian, and he knows for a fact that Sebastian won't tell anyone. So if the truth gets out, he will never forgive her, so she shouldn't tell anyone. Finn is excited to keep such a big secret as she promises that she understands. Even if Arnold uses illusion magic to make her think it is all a dream, it will still get exposed eventually. Based on Finn's personality, it is unlikely that she will leak the secret out herself. when it does get exposed, taking drastic measures at that time wouldn't be too late either. And this makes Arnold to bang his head on the table, stating that to think that the secret he has been guarding this whole time would get exposed like this. Finn tries to cheer him up, saying to please cheer up and have some sweets, and that she will pour some tea. But Arnold cannot help but feel like this is his fault. Meanwhile, Abel has made his way to the Duke and concludes the report for the quest. The Duke praises him, telling him that it is truly a job well done, and he apologizes that it became such a difficult quest. So he gives them a small gift from him and pleads for him to accept it. Abel refuses, claiming that the rewards from the quest were enough, and as he has mentioned in the report, it was Silver that resolved the situation, and not them. And as adventurers, they have their dignity, so do forgive them. The Duke replies that he sees and very well then if anything comes up he will ask for their help again. And Abel, bowing, replies, yes, sir. When that time comes, they will do their best to meet his expectations with their own hands. The Duke then goes to Arnold and states that he cannot thank His Highness enough, and Arnold just tells him to save that thanks for Leo as him coming here and Silver moving was all for Leo's sake. The Duke understands and promises His Highness that their ducal house will give Prince Leonard their full support and backing, which makes Arnold shake his hands and claim that they will be in his care. The Duke states that let's put Prince Leonard on the throne. With this, the people looking for opportunity will come to support Leo, and the Emperor will now also acknowledge Leo as one of the parties aiming for the throne. They can say that they are finally standing at the starting line. The Duke then questions if they have enough manpower, and Arnold truthfully answers that no, they need to start negotiating with the other nobles that are still observing the situation. But for that, they need people that can be trusted. The Duke replies that he sees and that is relieving, which makes Arnold question if the Duke is going to lend them someone. Duke answers that he is thinking of entrusting his daughter to him and states that he was shocked too when Finn spoke to him yesterday, as she wanted to repay the prince no matter what. He claims that Finn is never that assertive, and for her to say something like that, he is deeply moved. Arnold tries to reason that if the Duke puts it like that, then he is troubled, which the Duke points out that the girl is famous in the capital, and he is sure she will be useful. Arnold admits that that is true but questions if he is serious. According to Arnold, to be honest, there are countless merits of having her, but for her to suddenly want to go to the capital, the reason must be because she knows his real identity. And there are plenty of opportunities for interaction with other people in the capital, so he wouldn't know from where the information leaked. The Duke again pushes that it is what the girl wishes and to please use her well. And with this, Finn is seated in the carriage where she is bidding farewell to her family, and the Duke reminds her to make sure she makes herself useful, while her brother tells her to take care of her body. Once gone, she turns to Arnold and states that she may not be of much use, but she will be in his care from now on. But when he doesn't respond, she questions if he is angry, and Arnold replies that no, he is just amazed. What they are doing from now on is the fight for the throne, and there will be countless dark and bloody battlefields. So if she wants to turn back now, this is her only chance. Finn states that she understands that, but she still wants to be of use. And also, if she is by his side, then it will be easier for him to keep an eye on her, which makes Arnold point out that no, he would feel less worried if she were to stay in her territory. And Arnold wonders if letting such a girl know his secret would be alright. Arnold is back at his empire where Leonard mentions that he knows that Nyai is widely known. But to think that he was acquainted with Silver, Arnold mentions that it was Silver who contacted him, and he told Arnold that as a proof of trust, he will recruit Duke Kleinert to their side. That is why he wrote the story that said Leo requested Silver's help, but it is his mistake for asking for Leo's approval after it already happened. Leo tells him that it is alright, that Nyai has his own thoughts on the matter too. Arnold states that for now, he thinks it is fine to trust him, but he is a man of many mysteries, and he hasn't revealed his purpose for cooperating with them, so it is better to not fully trust him. Silver took the initiative, so it is easier for Arnold to act as if that is the case. Even if the connection with Silver is exposed, it will just look like Arnold was used by him. Leonard continues that thanks to him, Kleinert Duchy was saved, and they gained Duke Kleinert's cooperation, so there is no mistaking that he is a good person. And Arnold, at this point, points out for going again and thinking only of everyone's positivity. Just then, Finn enters, bringing some tea, which she offers first to Leo. Leo is delighted as he praises that this is delicious. Arnold doesn't like this as they are already acting friendly despite just meeting each other, and believes that this should be considered a talent already. After tea is done, Leo asks them how does Arnold plans to have Finn help them. Arnold replies that basically as a negotiator, and also he will have her travel frequently from her mansion in the capital to their place for now. that would show that Duke Kleinert is on their side, and that is all for now. Arnold now questions Leo if he has managed to gather allies in the capital, and Leo, saddened, replies that it is hard to say. The influential people in the capital have already joined one of the three sides. Right now, he is trying to persuade the backbone nobles that are still staying neutral. Finn then interrupts, asking them to tell her about the other three rival factions, which makes Leo question Arnold why he hasn't told her about it yet. Arnold replies that she kept asking him unnecessary questions along the way, and he didn't have enough strength left to explain. Leo at that assures Finn that no worries, it is just like Nye to get troubled like that since he is the type of person to deflect any kind of talk after all. Finn is surprised by that as she excitedly asks if that is true, and Arnold goes on to reply that that is because it was even more troublesome to deflect those questions. But he goes into his pocket and pulls out 3 gemstones. He tells Finn to think of these as the 3 factions, where each of them is expanding their power while aiming for the throne. These 3 include the second prince, Eric Lakes Adler, the intelligent prince who controls most of the cabinet ministers. The third prince, Gordon Lakes Adler, the most powerful asset of their army and often personally heads out to battles. And the second prince is Xandra Alk Adler, who is excellent in magic and has gathered support from magicians throughout the empire. There are others in the imperial family that are aiming for the throne as well, but they don't come close to these 3. Leo adds that the civil ministry officials, the military, and the magicians, they each have a solid tank of supporters, and the nobles are taking advantage of this and are trying to build up their power. This is the current state of the succession war. It started 3 years ago when their older brother, the crown prince, died. Finn mentions that she has heard about that, and her father said before that he was still alive, the succession war would never have happened. Arnold joins that on the contrary, this ends up giving everyone else the chance. That is where something feels wrong for Arnold. Brave and dignified, their elder brother was like a graded-up version of Leo, coupled with an excellent personality to just die on the battlefield like that. The Emperor's personal investigation proved that there was no scheme, but Arnold cannot shake the feeling of there being something sinister lurking below. But there is no point in continuing to think about a dead person. So Arnold states that the person is no longer here, and the 3 elder siblings won't show any mercy to their enemies. The only way is for Leo to take the place of their elder brother and become emperor. There is no other path for them, and Leo agrees that he knows but wonders if he can really do it. So Arnold tries to cheer him up by stating that relax, he will make sure that Leo does. Just then, Marie Verk enters the room, saying to pardon her intrusion, but Leo calls her in and thanks her for her hard work. Marie met Leo when looking for employment and chosen for her capabilities. She acts as Leo's aide despite her civilian background. Leo states that let him introduce Finn, that this is Kleinert Duke's daughter, and Finn announces that it is nice to meet Marie. Marie reciprocates that it's nice to meet Finn and calls herself as Leo's mace and to please call her Marie. She, however, mentions the fact that Finn is here, means to which Leo informs that Duke Kleinert has joined their side, and it is thanks to Arnold. And while Arnold mentions to not embarrass him, Marie praises him that he did a splendid job, which surprises Arnold because he was just fooling around, but he ended up getting complimented. Arnold noticed Marie, and she is silent and expressionless as always. Due to his happy-go-lucky personality, it seems like she doesn't have any good feelings towards him. It is even more clear when she is near him, and to be honest, Arnold finds it difficult. Marie then hands Leo a roll of paper and informs him that here are the reports regarding the 2 parties that he has been concocting a trap for. Leo takes the report and is shocked as he exclaims how this could be. Then he informs that Count Siegfried is under Highness Xandra, and Baron Ballman was taken away by His Highness Gordon. They have gutted them. The deciding factor is resulting payment. It seems both the parties have received a quite large sum, and there is no helping it. The 2 are in league with the merchants after all, and they cannot beat them in a fight for money. Arnold then calls out loud that Baron Ballman is closely tied to the Minister of Military Affairs, and if he manages to get control of the Minister of Military Affairs, then a majority of the military will fall into Gordon's hands. The Minister of Military Affairs isn't meeting with any successor candidates for the time being, but who knows how long that will last. Amri then apologizes, saying that she wanted to bring Baron Ballum on their side no matter what. Arnold assures her that things don't always go the way they want after all, but they are making progress. Leo is optimistic as usual and states that Finn is with them, so this will likely make things easier for them from now on. Finn, too, promises to try her best. After all that, Arnold waves, saying he will go rest for a while. It may be because they rode all the way to the duchy on horses, but his back hurts. Leo jokingly tells him not to say stuff like that, as though he is an old man, and Arnold comments to try going there once, the pain will come to his back. Arnold and Finn, in the next scene, then make their way out of the castle, where Finn is excited to see everything. She sees a side road to which she questions Arnold if they should enter this side road, to which Arnold stares, allowing her to do what she likes. Sensing the mood, she apologizes for him having to constantly listen to her selfishness, but Arnold tells her that he doesn't mind if it is just escorting her. It has been a few days since Finn came to the capital, and the sight of Finn traveling through the city every day catches the eyes of the people in the capital. The rumors of Duke Kleinert giving his support to Prince Leonard have started to spread. Arnold could hear them talk, where one mentions that it seems like Finn went to see Leonard again, while another expresses their surprise by stating, "Oh my, they are quite close." Based on that, it seems like it is turning into a love story between Leonard and Finn. But that itself is not bad, and just when the rumors are starting to spread nicely, it would be problematic if they are seen together. That is why they are going incognito. Finn then asks Arnold what is that over there, and Arnold replies that it is an appraisal store and tells her to just call him Al, which makes her question if it is fine to use a nickname. Arnold tells her that just in case, since it will be problematic if she was seen with a prince, so Al is fine. She asks if it is fine if she calls him that from now on, and Arnold again replies for her to do whatever she likes. This makes her happy, which makes Arnold wonder what she is so happy about. While roaming, Arnold finds it all nostalgic, as back then, he used to sneak out of the castle and play around with the kids in the town like that. As expected of a prince, he shouldn't have acted so freely like that, but even now, he still meets them from time to time, the friends he used to play with. That makes Finn comment on a friendship that transcends identity, and she is envious, as she doesn't have many friends after all. Arnold assures her that she can make plenty of them in the capital, and there are plenty of good and bad people around after all. She then mentions that it will be nice if she can be friends with the trustworthy ones, to which Arnold replies that it is not like it is alright just because they are friends since the last time, and time doesn't matter for friendships after all. Just then, a splash of water comes to Finn's face, surprising both of them. While asking if she is alright, she answers that she is fine. But there is an expression of constant shock on the two children who accidentally threw the water, and Arnold. Arnold then grabs Finn's arm and pulls her closer, making Finn panicked as she asks what's wrong. Arnold tells her that her clothes are showing because of the water, her dress had become transparent. Embarrassed, she crouches down to protect her innocence when Arnold calmly tells her that he knows the owner of a place nearby, so let's get her some clothes there. They make their way to the store where the owner comments that isn't that nice, such innocence, to which Arnold tells him not to go spreading this around. The owner then mentions that still, this is something new, as it is rare for Arnold to be walking around with a girl, and asks if it is finally that time for him. But Arnold just tells him to say whatever he wants. Just then, Finn comes out of the changing room and asks how the dress is, and Arnold states that it suits her, and Finn is glad, as Arnold had picked it for her after all. After this, the owner asks Arnold if he will pay the same way as usual, and Arnold confirms that he will let Sebastian or someone else know later, and thanks him as always. Just as they are leaving, the owner tells them to please enjoy their date, which embarrasses Finn while Arnold states that he is just guiding her around the town, so don't misunderstand. They then continue making their way around the capital, where they grab something to eat as well, watch the ducks, and enjoy the fountain. The sun is setting now, so it is about time they head back to the castle. As Arnold is thinking that, Jide von Horsvath calls out, "Could the one standing over there be the dull prince?" Arnold immediately recognizes the voice, as he has met someone he didn't want to meet. Jide is the eldest son of a venerable and famous family and, despite his unwillingness, Arnold's childhood friend. Ever since they were young, he only played nice in front of Leo, and often bullied Arnold since Arnold had been abandoned by the adults. Arnold greets him, stating that it is rare seeing him here, and Jide insults that he found a shabby-looking face that doesn't resemble a prince after all. As one of the imperial nobles, he thought of calling out to Arnold. Arnold half-heartedly thanks him, which makes Jide question what is with that attitude while striking his cane against Arnold's shoes. This makes Arnold mad, as Jide questions him if he thinks he won't hit him just because they are in public. He states that if he were to hit Arnold, no one would care about it, now would they say anything about it. Jide then comments that Arnold is not Leonard, and everyone knows that, telling him to look at his behavior. Who would think of Arnold as royalty? Arnold comments that beating him up would cause a big problem since they have the same face, and this angers Jide. He pulls his cane back to strike while calling Arnold that he is nothing close to being royalty and calls him insolent. But before anything, Finn makes her way in front of Arnold, and Jide is surprised to see the Empire's beauty in front of him. He calls her name, Miss Finn, and she confirms that she is Finn von Kleinert and asks who he is. Arnold is not happy with this encounter as he pleads in his head to please don't make things complicated. If this becomes a huge fuss, then it will be troublesome no matter the result. Jide, meanwhile, stutters while saying his name, and Finn asks if he is the son of that venerable and famous Duke Horsfath and states what a shame, as she expected someone who behaved with more honor. Jide is horrified as he states that this is a mistake, and the crowd seems to have started gathering where people are able to recognize Arnold. Finn continues to ask if Jide thinks that it is fine to do whatever just because Arnold is the dull prince and asks if he has no respect or loyalty towards the royal family. Arnold internally is screaming at her to stop, as it is bad if Finn shames Jide here, and if he were to one-sidedly beat him up, then it will only be his reputation that will drop. Jide is horrified by all this so much so that he cannot form proper answers to give while Finn continues. If Jide really thought that she would have an outing with the dull prince on her own accord. Just as Arnold hears this, he understands what is happening, as he comments to Finn that this is troubling. And now there is no choice. Arnold comments that because she said that she didn't want rumors to spread, he purposely pretended to act as Arnold, and Finn plays in this as well since she calls for her apologies. Jide looks as if he has seen a ghost as he questions if he really is Leonard, and once confirmed, he tries to change the narrative by stating that he is mistaken. But Arnold, playing Leonard, is done. He states that he knows now what Jide has been doing to Arnold, and as long as Arnold doesn't say anything, he has no plans to intervene. But he states to please excuse them for today, as he was in the middle of guiding Finn throughout the capital after all. Jide knows that to make an enemy out of Leo, who is about to become the next emperor, would be bad, so he starts to make his way away. Arnold, meantime, tells Finn that she has gone and done it, which makes her apologize, but he ignores it, stating that there are people watching here, so let's leave for now. While making their way back, Arnold asks Finn if she did it on a whim, which again makes her go that he is truly sorry. But Arnold is mad as he informs that if she had just let it be, then only Jide's reputation would have dropped. However, due to this incident, he now holds hostilities towards her and Leo at the very least. Furthermore, it will be harder for him to act from now on due to word going around that Leo may be acting as him. Seeing tears in her eyes, Arnold realizes that there is no use blaming her for what has already happened. So he tells her that if she has learned from this, then don't act without thinking the next time, as it may easily put her in danger too, so don't do that again. Finn agrees, and Arnold mentions that he gets that she did it for his sake and she was having too much fun too, so he apologizes for ending it with a bad aftertaste like this. Finn is touched, but she accepts that she was careless and promises to make sure to be careful next time, so she asks if he can guide her around like this, and Arnold agrees that next time he will put on a disguise too, which delights Finn, and Arnold realizes that seeing that smile makes it worth guiding her around. In the next scene, Leo and Arnold are making their way where Leo mentions that isn't it rare for father to call them out, and he wonders what this is about. Arnold responds that it only happens around once a year after all, and maybe he has an announcement or something. Leo does hope that it is a good announcement, but Arnold is pretty sure that 9 out of 10 times it is not going to be good. Leo, trying to be optimistic, states that let's wish for the opposite of that and tells Arnold to wear his mantle properly as he is going to be scolded by father again. They then enter inside the room where the 3 factions are already present, and it seems like the princes and the princesses in the capital have gathered. Emperor Johannes Lakes Adler thanks everyone for coming. He states that this is sudden, but from now on, he wants them all to compete with each other. But a mere competition of strength would be boring, so to that end, he thought of reviving a festival that has been abandoned for decades. The Knights Hunting Festival will be held. The winner shall receive the prize, but he wants to make it bigger and states to let's make it something that will be a big step towards the position of the crown prince. Everyone is shocked by this as Gordon exclaims that enough beating around the bush, and questions, wouldn't a straight-up competition of strength be straightforward? Gordon is one of the generals who loves war and is the greatest warrior among the princes. If this guy becomes the emperor, then he would seek to expand the empire's borders without stopping. The people would live their lives embroiled in a war they never wished for. The emperor tells Gordon not so fast, as how would his 10-year-old brother, the 10th prince, have a competition of strength with him? Xandra at that comments for Gordon to use his head a bit, and even a muscle brain like him must have some sense. Xandra is the most brutal among them. She often delves into forbidden magic and continuously revives them one after another, and if she became the emperor, then the empire will surely become a mad magical superpower where inhumane experiments are permitted. Gordon takes offense to that statement as he comments that a weak magician like her, he can crush with just using his fingers, which makes Xandra counter back that isn't Gordon always saying that it is a warrior's honor to Dao on the battlefield, so she questions if she should give it to him as a present. Arnold can feel that the atmosphere is heavy, and these two are as dangerous as always even in front of the Emperor. Just then, Eric steps up and apologizes for his siblings' rudeness. Eric, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs who guides foreign policy, is a genius, and his intellect is evaluated to be even more than the late Crown Prince, and he is currently the man who is closest to the throne. If this guy becomes the Emperor, then the Empire would be safe, but he would undoubtedly kill them to prevent the sparks of rebellion in the future. The Emperor doesn't mind the rudeness as he states that it's fine. Competition is a good thing, as that is how he became the Emperor after all. And now, he starts by explaining the festival. The Knights Hunting Festival. It is a festival where the Imperial Knight Order competes with each other based on the rarity and size of the monster they hunted. It was often held back when there were plenty of monsters in the Empire. But nowadays adventurers have been so good at what they do that it wasn't needed. Arnold understands that the Imperial Knight Order is to mobilize a Knight Order that reports directly to the Emperor, so it must be quite big. Eric at this chirps that he has seen the monster activity has increased lately, after all. However, that might mean taking away jobs of adventurers, so he questions if the guild would allow it. The Emperor assures that there is no need to worry about that as he has already gotten the permission from the guild headquarters, as they weren't able to cope with the damage in various areas, so they welcomed their help. Arnold wonders that it most likely must have been like where the Emperor would have complained that the Empire has been paying guilds high maintenance fees. But it seems like the monsters aren't being exterminated. And while the guild would have tried to apologize, the Emperor would have suggested that the country is planning to hold a festival which includes exterminating monsters, and this would have made the guild hesitant, which would give the Emperor the higher hand as he would suggest then can they get some good adventurers to do something about those monsters, and eventually the guild would have to agree. And as for the guild headquarters, they must be in a tight spot between the Empire and the adventurer, and if they don't take countermeasures, then it will surely cause damage to the people, their crops, and even the adventurers themselves too. In that sense, it is a brilliant plan to have the elite Imperial Knight Order hunt those rare monsters with a festival. They would be able to make a profit as well as let the people feel safe. And as expected of the Emperor, he thought up a good strategy. However, the problem is how he is planning to use them for this festival. Eric then states that he understood and that, in other words, the Emperor wants them to lead the Knight Orders to hunt monsters, and the Emperor praises that as expected of Eric, he has guessed it right. And the Emperor will personally distribute the Knight Orders to all of you, and they can go out and hunt together with them or sit back and wait for the good result, as anyhow he wants all of them to make the festival exciting. What the Emperor meant when he said it was fine to sit back and wait for the result was him being considerate towards those who are bad at being at the front lines. The knights will not swear their loyalty towards those who can't even fight alongside them, and this will severely damage the chances of those who are aiming for the throne. And even if you can't fight, you should at least have the resolve to stand on the same battlefield as them was what the Emperor probably wanted to say. Gordon then asks the Emperor that he would like to hear about the important reward, and the Emperor agrees that is right. The winner shall gain the position of Ambassador Plenipotentiary. In the next scene, Arnold, Finn, and Sebastian are in a room where Sebastian mentions that this has turned into something troublesome, and Arnold agrees that this is a pinch for them. Finn states that she thinks that this is a good opportunity, though the knights are equally allotted by the Emperor as well. But Arnold's lack of response makes her mad as she screams at him that he is making fun of her, and that she understands that much. Arnold then states that it certainly is a chance for Leo to become the Ambassador Plenipotentiary, and she will be treated as a prominent successor candidate in the country she was dispatched to. She will be able to connect the pipes between the two countries. On the other hand, if any of the three rivals become the ambassador, then that gap they had finally managed to close will widen again. Unlike the other two, they are not powerful enough to bite the bullet on this one, and they will have to drop out of the succession war if that happens. Finn is terrified to hear this as she asks if that is the case and that they have to hurry and do something about it. Arnold asks Sebastian if he has gathered any information yet, and Sebastian replies that there is not much. Sebastian informs that it seems like the Knight Order themselves have heard about it yesterday, and it seems like this was decided between His Majesty and his close aides alone. Arnold is worried because if that is the case, then the tricks they have up their sleeves are limited, and the deciding factor here will be each candidate's skill and luck. Whether they are able to meet a rare monster or not will really depend on luck, and no matter how much strength they have, if they have no chance to show it, then there is no point. His train of thoughts is interrupted by Sebastian, who informs him that there is one more piece of information. It seems like the Night Order expects the venue of the festival to be the eastern part of the Empire, and this even puts Finn in confusion as to why it is the eastern part. The eastern part is where the damage from the monsters is the greatest, and it seems the Night Order has yet to be dispatched there, so he left it alone to use it as the festival venue, and it does seem like something the Emperor would do. If it becomes the center of the festival, then it will surely be bustling with tourists, and that will make rebuilding any damage easier. Regarding the pace of the festival, the Night Orders will be dispatched to the eastern part over a span of few days to hunt monsters, and they will compete based on the amount and the rarity of the monsters hunted. It seems like the Emperor will then pick a winner at the end, and influential people from all over will come to see it too, and this is going to be troublesome. Finn then comes up that she has come up with a plan that it will be fine if Arnold gets the first place, which makes both Sebastian and Arnold look at her like crazy. Arnold curses himself to be a fool to expect something good for a second, while Sebastian informs her that Arnold has to continue his act as a fool, and for him to suddenly show some competency here would be unusual, which finally makes her understand. So she questions that, but other than that, there is no other certain option. This time Arnold replies that while that option does have certainty, they will lose their trump card, and also it will be more difficult to crown Leo the Emperor. Furthermore, that will lead to dividing up their valuable popularity, so it's a bad move no matter how they think about it. However, there are not any hands that they can play in that situation, and the other three would probably lure a rare monster into the eastern part, or they could figure out the position of a rare monster, but their side lacks the human resources to do that. Arnold then suggests that he can do something similar to that. He could just drive the monsters into the eastern part himself as Silver, and this makes Finn fear for Arnold as she tells him that he cannot do something like this. And Arnold had thought Finn likes Leo, so he says that if he does that, then the people living in the eastern part might suffer even more damage than before the festival begins. And that is why they won't do something like that, and Leo wouldn't acknowledge it too. This makes Finn quite glad as she expresses it, but she also apologizes for saying something without thinking again, even though Arnold would never do something like this. But Arnold assures her that it is fine and to just say whatever comes to mind, as her opinions are always right and just after all. Finn gets confused by this, so she asks what he means by that, and Sebastian answers that it means that he likes Finn just the way she is, and this causes Finn to get red. Arnold turns to Sebastian stating that he doesn't remember saying that he likes, though, to which Sebastian asks if he hates her. And when Arnold replies no, Sebastian states that then let's conclude that he likes her then, and asks Finn, "Isn't that great?" Which Finn giddily replies yes. Just then, Leo along with Marie enters the room while pardoning their intrusion and asks if he is interrupting. Arnold tells him that they were just about to discuss how to make Leo the ambassador plenipotentiary. That's it for this part. If you guys loved this one, do comment part 2 in the comments section. The more the comments, the faster will I upload. So, your time starts now.